I just did a mindset session with someone and I realized I think we all have a tendency to wear different masks depending on what's going on in our office environment, in our life, whatever it may be. And I wanted to talk about some of the scenarios that came up. And I think most people don't even realize that they do it. Clearly, the best way to show up for anybody is to be your authentic self. And often, what happens is we walk into a meeting or we walk into the boss's office, whatever the situation is, and you're coming in as yourself and all that you bring with it, all your good intentions, all of your experience, and then something happens. It could be the company has taken a complete turn. They're no longer operating the way they've always operated. They have private equity possibly coming in and they're getting ready for a sale. So there's the concept of do more with less, or we need to measure more. There could also be a boss who got passed over. And now suddenly he or she saw all of his or her peers get promoted and they did not, and you're their team member. And now the stakes have changed. And we find ourselves oftentimes going from that authentic self who wants to help work on a project. I'm going to call it the fixer. That person who's willing to step in, roll up their sleeves, come to the table with either thoughts from their experience or brainstorm, listen to other people, and genuinely be engaged. And in those situations, oftentimes we are growing because we are being challenged. We're working on something new. We have the opportunity to innovate and to grow, to be better versions of ourselves, right? And that usually reinforces the idea of you continuing to be your authentic self and to allow you to bring in some vulnerability. Someone suggests an idea and you're like, I haven't heard of that before. Or I don't know. Can you share some more? And those create really collaborative environments. And then you can have a situation where maybe once or twice with someone in the room, you're shot down. And so now you pull back a little bit. Your authentic self isn't there screaming, I'm here and I'm ready to be helpful. What you have is, I'm here, but I'm going to be cautious. And that person might be the proverbial team player. It's going to let everybody else have the ideas, but they're going to raise their hand and help execute, right? And if you're saying yes to everything, who you are may be showing up, but you may also be reserving some of what you could add value to because you're afraid of being said no to again, or you're starting to get a little resentful for the dynamic that's in the room. And I would just ask you, are you being true to yourself and are you still showing up the best way you can? Here's where I oftentimes will say, go have a conversation with whomever might have created the hiccup in the past and say, hey, I noticed things have changed in the dynamic on the team meetings. Has something happened that I should be aware of? Is there something that I can contribute in a different way that would continue to help and get us back to where we were? Because really what you're doing is getting yourself back to being your authentic self and being able to be in growth mode. You're still in growth mode when you're in a team and you're collaborating. You just might feel a little stifled. Here's where the masks usually happen. Say those one or two situations have now become the norm, and you are really reticent to do what it is you can do to add the most value to the organization. What you are doing is you're playing the narrative, the negative speak in your mind, and you're sitting in the meetings and you're going to do the job you're asked to do. But what have you become? You've become the silent one. Silence doesn't equal strength in all cases. If you're allowing yourself to do it because the game has changed and you haven't addressed how you can fix that game, what you are actually doing is you are deminimizing your value. You're not being true to yourself. And you are actually starting to create a situation where neither you or others want to be in that room with you. If you are quietly watching dysfunction unfold, ask yourself, are you composed or have you resigned yourself to the situation? I have many clients who are tired of changing jobs. They don't feel there's something better out there. They know the environment, they can do their job, and it's just that one meeting they can avoid. Is that really the place that you want to be? Remember, authenticity isn't about being liked, it's about being aligned with yourself first, and then with those with which you are operating on a day in and day out basis. And being authentic and being aligned is where you get to shine. And if you are not coming into a room and shining at 100%, are you in service to either yourself or to the people that are sitting around you? Asked differently, are you leading from your values or are you blending into the cliques to avoid friction? Or worse, are you not calling out what's happening to create improvement? And by calling out, I'm not talking about conflict. I'm talking about doing it in a constructive, impactful way. Because chances are, if you're a true leader, you're going to know you're not the only one in the room that is feeling this way. You can also look around and realize you're not the only one who has started to step back. I encourage you to remember your presence has power, but only if you own it. And if each person can be challenged in that room that you're working with to be fully present and to be collaborative and to speak authentically and with clarity, you are all going to enjoy that environment so much more. And remember, if you're standing off to the side, waiting for someone else to speak up, you're not invisible. You're just silently being impacted. Be the leader. Lean in, communicate, collaborate. See how you can change the culture. How can you change the environment? What can you do differently about yourself that can become contagious to create harmony and a dynamic work environment, one that you want to show up to every day? And then I had this conversation with one or two clients recently where they came to realize that they can't have that positive impact. So then I would challenge you as a leader and say, does it make sense to stay where you are? Or how do you take the right pivot and own what it is you want to do, what your area of expertise is, what makes you shine, what you're passionate about, and where can you do that? And how can you find a place that that authentic person that was the fixer and the team player show up at 100% and go find that place? Because you know what? You're going to be happier. And I'm going to implore my business owners and my leaders that if they're seeing that happen on their team, to take action one-on-one with their people and help them get back to aligned and passion, because your vision will come to fruition that much quicker if you have an engaged, empowered, authentic, and motivated team. If you've liked this discussion today, please like or subscribe. And I personally would love to see your comments about things that you are doing to change the tone or tenor of the conversations that are going on in your workplace. Have your best day ever.